This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have on the phone the Wizard Master himself. He's here to protect us from all these threats of Freddy Krueger, and just in case he has cold feet, I do have the hotline for the Ghostbusters on hand. But folks, I have from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Ira Heiden. Is it Hayden? Has I got that right?
It is Heiden.
Oh,
like,
Heiden.
where are you hiding?
Okay, my apologies. So how you doing?
I'm doing just fine on this sunny day in Los Angeles, California. Glad to be on the show, and I look forward to protecting everybody.
You know what? I've only done a handful of interviews on Skype, but I remember my first one was with Lisa Wilcox last September, and she, of course, was on Elm Street 4 and 5 as the heroine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, she's great. I often see her at conventions, all around. It's so funny. We probably live like, I want to say maybe 5 miles away from each other, but I see her more on horror conventions than I do around the block.
Well, I've had her on here, and I've had Amanda Wiz on here as well, and both lovely ladies. But
very lovely, very lovely.
Yes, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, and of course you are the Wizard Master, and I love the fact that you really enjoy this identity, and you seem to really dig the convention scene and enjoy this image that has been thrown on you.
For sure, Greg. I mean, I worked hard for the opportunity to land the role. I had a great manager at the time, and I went in, and Annette Benson was the casting director, and I met her and read for her 2 times. She put me on tape, and then I came back and met a couple of times with the director, Chuck Russell, and then I landed the job. And what a great opportunity. I loved playing Dungeons and Dragons in high school, and so to be able to just utilize that, the game source, and put it towards my knowledge into my character was just spectacular.
Yes, and of course, you had that massive battle against Freddy, where you're the Wizard Master. Now, what was it like to work with Robert Englund and do that fight scene with him?
It was amazing. I mean, he's such a great actor. I mean, he's done so much, and we really listened to him. He was like a mentor. He was just wonderful to work with, a true professional. But I did have a problem with him on our fight scene. There were a couple of problems. One, as I was getting ready to think of my death and get ready for the death scene, I have Robert Englund in his Freddy Krueger outfit next to me telling me jokes, Greg. I mean, hey, Ira, did you hear the one about... I'm like, hey, Robert, just leave me alone right now. I need to really concentrate. You're about to kill me. And he, of course, we go, ah! And then we talk about how he just got his house in Laguna Beach and blah, blah, blah. I'm like going, no, leave me alone. I've got to really concentrate on this. So that was the one problem I had. The second problem was when we were on the set, his gloves, which his fingers were retractable, 2 of them weren't retracting. So what happened was they had to put a 2x4 over my heart, and I had to pray to God that Robert hit his mark every time, which he did.
It kind of reminds me, I had Ted White on here in 2016, and he, of course, played Jason in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and his method is that he kind of stayed away from the actors because he didn't want anybody to get too close to him because it might render ill effect on his performance against them. He wanted them, of course, to fear Jason. I guess Robert Englund, that wasn't quite his method, huh?
No, that wasn't his game at all. His game was to get in your face. Typical Freddy, man. Typical.
What was it like getting in that wizard costume?
It was pretty cool. You know, nothing too special. The getup was really cool. My cape and everything, and we had the special effects that were added afterwards, which was cool. And I had to battle against that big ass wheelchair, which was ridiculously, crazily built. With things coming out of it and sharp objects and everything. I mean, it was a bad thing to battle. But I took care of that. I wish I had taken care of Freddy. That's all.
Does Harry Potter ever seek advice from you?
Yeah, exactly. It's an often that's a thought right there. I mean, I think I was pre Harry Potter. He got that character from me, the Wizard Master.
I think so. I believe that. And of course, Heather Langenkamp returning as Nancy from the original, and of course, she thought she was free of this to begin with, but no, she had to return. And what was she like to work with?
She was great, man. What a great professional actress. Again, she had just come out from, I think she was from Kansas or Kentucky actually, and she worked on The Outsiders, and then came out and started getting some roles. And then I actually got to work with her again on a TV show called Just the 10 of Us, which was a lot of fun. But she was great, man. She was a lot of fun, and she really kept to her character. And we were all really into our characters, and worked hard on who we were.
Yeah, another one that came back too, John Saxon back as her dad. And
yeah, John.
Oh yeah, and it's still around. I guess still doing the conventions as well.
I don't know. I haven't seen him on one in a while. I think I'm going to say the last one I saw him on was about 2 years ago, and he didn't really remember me at first.
Well, he's a veteran in these movies. I mean, he was in
For sure.
Elm Street. He was in Black Christmas. He was in Tenebrae. Like, he's done a lot of these types of movies. I guess he loves the horror scene.
And also, he was in a movie with Bruce Lee, I believe. I can't remember which one it was, but I do remember seeing pictures that he had him and Bruce, and he did a movie with him. And I was good friends with Brandon Lee, obviously Bruce's son.
Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened with Brandon Lee as well.
Yeah, very.
Yes. Of course, Patricia Arquette. Interesting seeing her in this film, especially now for Boyhood. She's an Oscar winner.
Yeah, she was wonderful. Think about it. We were all kids, man, when we did this movie. Mm-hmm. A lot of us, were really, really young, and not realizing. I don't think any of us really realized what this would turn out to be like. I mean, I couldn't tell you that 30 years from then that I would be sitting here talking to you about that movie.
No. Of course, Brooke Bundy, a veteran as well, in that movie as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good old Brooke, who I do see more on the convention circuit. And, yeah, she was great in it.
Interesting thing. I got to reach out to Brooke next year because I come to discover that her daughter, of course, is Tiffany Helm, who was in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. And I had Tiffany on last September, and I'm still connected with her. So I might have to reach out to Brooke for the 30th anniversary of the next one. But
I say go for it. She was just at she was in Chicago for Flashback Weekend, as was Heather and Lisa and Amanda and a lot of people. They had a lot of fun on that show.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Amanda's beautiful. Amanda is.
Yeah, she's really nice. Great professional woman, too. So, Greg, let me ask you a question as the Wizard Master. Which is your favorite Elm Street?
You know what? I got to say I'm very partial to the original. And maybe it's just because When I first saw it, I just remember I hadn't seen anything like that. And it's interesting because Wes Craven, who had done Last House on the Left and did the Hills Have Eyes, and Swamp Thing, you'd think he was already well established. Then he does A Nightmare on Elm Street, and you hear people say ideas are gone. Nobody has ideas, but Freddy Krueger was actually a pretty interesting creation and an interesting idea for a horror film. Somebody menacing your dreams, especially a face like that you won't see on Tinder anywhere.
No, definitely not. You're not going to swipe that, are you? It's true, and how great that he comes and attacks you in your dreams. What a way to mess with you. And then the greatest thing I felt about the Dream Warriors is how we came together as teenagers, and we all utilized our powers to try and kick his ass. And getting into the dream was crazy and fun and interesting, and that kind of set a precedence, I think, for teenagers to help each other and gang up against the bad guy.
It's interesting, too, because, of course, it opened with that great song by Dokken, which, what a way to open the movie up, with that song by Dokken. And
for sure.
Absolutely. But I'm going to tell you what I liked about Dream Warriors is that we finally get to see, we know that Heather Langenkamp took him on there in that original, but here they up the ante, and it's not just that you guys had superpowers. Your powers were kind of based in and around your inner talents,
right.
Yeah. You had this thing for magic and whatnot, so you were the wizard master, and all the other people had their various talents, Kincaid, of course, he's the big tough guy because he was into lifting weights and whatnot, and that was what you guys used against Freddy, and I think that was one of the things that made Dream Warriors interesting. And of course, I believe it was Wes Craven come back for. Did he come back for this one? I know he
did. He came back for the third one.
Okay, he wasn't the director, I don't think.
No, Chuck Russell was directing.
Oh, that's right, Chuck Russell.
Yes, and Chuck and his buddy Frank actually took the original script from Wes and rewrote it because apparently it was a lot darker. I think the first script, which I have not read, but I do have. I've got to go through that. But yeah, it was Chuck Russell who was great. I think it was his first directing gig, and he and I got along really well. He was like a father figure to me. He was really great.
Yeah, another interesting person that was in that too, Craig Wasson, of course, was in Body Double as well, and came along for the ride. And I don't see him much anymore in anything, but he.
I could tell you, Greg, I have he reached out to me on Facebook, so we're friends on Facebook, but I've never seen him at a convention. It would be so great to catch up with him. And see him. It's been a long time. I think he may be on the East Coast. I know he's not out in L.A.
It's interesting because I had the beautiful Deborah Shelton on here last year from the movie Body Double, which of course he was in. And we criticized his really bad stalking techniques in that movie. Craig's one of a kind. Yes, he is. He was a Ghost Story too. So he was just ripe for an Elm Street movie. He had the horror film background.
For sure.
But you had an interesting. You were in, of course, amongst these young folks who, of course, having the trouble with their dreams, and you had Jennifer Rubin, you had Rodney Eastman. I'm trying to think of the name of the girl who got her head put through the television.
That would be the one and only Penelope Sudrow.
Okay, that's right. Yeah,
then don't forget Bradley Gregg. I mean, come on. Bradley Gregg, who was the guy who had his veins ripped out. Oh, yes,
right. He was the puppet.
And took a jump. yeah, and Bradley went on after that. I mean, my gosh, Stand By Me. He went on, became best friends with River Phoenix, and they both worked together on. I'm trying to figure out which Indiana Jones it was, but yeah, he went on to a great career as well. And we all kind of keep in touch. It's nice.
Out of all the kills, and I know you might be biased to yours, but which one of the kills would you like? Were you on set for the other kills or just for yours? Because I was wondering if there was any detail there you can describe about any one kill in that movie, because they were all kind of creative.
Well, no, I was on set for mine, but obviously we were in the room after Jennifer went through the TV set. But if I had to say my favorite kill in that, it would have to be Jennifer's. Penelope Sudrow's going through the TV set. I mean, come on, she's an actress, and she's looking on the TV, and there's Dick Cavett, interviewing Zsa Zsa Gabor, and she's trying to stay awake, and then all of a sudden Freddie comes on and says to Zsa Zsa Gabor, "I don't give a fuck about what you think." And that wakes her and startles her, and then the TV kind of goes into static, and she gets up there, and then Freddie grabs her and says, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." I mean, that really, to me, that's the best. That was the best. And I also like Bradley's kill, jumping down from the being brought up to the top of the building, and then
that was so gross when the veins were coming out. I was like,
which is your favorite?
You know what? I do like the television kill. I got to admit, though, I did like the fight he had with Jennifer Rubens when she had all the knives, and he ended up producing these needles instead of the blades on his fingers, and he goes, "Let's get high."
Come on, Taryn, let's get high.
Stuck those right through her. It's and he used their weaknesses against them as well. So,
yep, that's the crazy thing about Freddie. Darn him. Gosh, I was hoping I would see him, but I don't think he's coming out to New Jersey. But that's this is an incredible year. It's our 30th anniversary, and it's a wonderful time to look back at what we did and what we created with such a low budget. That was also the thing. New Line Cinema wasn't throwing out $20 million to have special effects and everything, and Robert Shea is our producer over at New Line. It was just a wonderful group of people.
And you kind of stuck in the horror genre too, because you're also an Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and of course Cassandra Peterson, a lot prettier than a scarred up Freddy Krueger / Robert Englund.
Hell yeah. She was awesome to work with, man. I mean, you talk about two icons that I got to be with, Elvira and Freddie. Cassandra couldn't be any more sweeter. Such a great woman, so professional, so great, and I'm spot on with her timing and everything, and the way she would say her sayings was just great. And I got to say, well, you look at the size of her gazungas, which is pretty cool. And she was, I mean, we would go on set at like 5 a.m, and I'd pass by her trailer, and at 5 a.m, you would hear, "Welcome to the jungle." I mean, she would be blasting out Guns N' Roses at 5 a.m. Such a rock and roller.
Were you there for the moment where she was tarred and feathered doing that kind of that flash dance moment?
Well, yeah, we were in the audience, of course. Yeah, and it was pretty gnarly.
Okay, I wasn't sure whether that was shot separate on stage or not, but tell me about the process of doing her up for that, because that must have took some. That looked a little messy.
Yeah, it was a one take. You had to get it right. Although I'm sure they did. They had a double at first, and then they just put more stuff on her when she had to say her lines and stuff. But oh my gosh, that was so much fun in that theater, watching her do the flash dance over and over and over and over. Yeah, to be tarred and feathered, and then Was it Edie McClure? No, it wasn't Edie. It was the other girl that actually put the feathers on her.
Now, what did they use? Obviously, they didn't use real tar.
Greg, we're coming up to our 30th anniversary next year, and I can't tell you exactly what it was.
No, but no, I saw Elvira not too long ago. I'm not as familiar with it as I am with Dream Warriors, but could you actually think of a scenario where Robert Englund as Freddy had to deal with Elvira? Who do you think would freak who out?
I think for sure Elvira would win this one. There's no way that anything would scare her, and that would probably just end up scaring the shit out of Freddy.
I got to point out a few of your other roles too. Like you were in Father of the Bride with Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. Any memories of that?
Oh my gosh, of course. One of my favorite stories to tell is about my first line in Father of the Bride is, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing?" So it's "excuse me," which was one of his famous lines on Saturday Night Live when he would go on and on and on and then go, "Well, excuse me." So, Greg, I thought I was going to be funny. And it's 7:30 in the morning. We're going through rehearsal, and they say action. And so Steve comes up, and he's fake opening the buns. And so I blare at the top of my lungs, "Excuse me!" Yeah, I didn't get that laugh like you just did. I got back to one. Let's redo this. So, you got to try. You fall on your face, but hey, at least I tried, right? And maybe if I'd waited till the afternoon, maybe everybody would have laughed, but who knows?
So Steve didn't like that?
No, well, he smirked, but I don't think the director was too happy, but oh well.
Oh, well.
It happened. It went by, and now I'm here to talk about it.
Yeah, and you did Illegally Yours. You got to be Andrew Dice.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Playing Rob Lowe's brother. I had so much fun. It was great.
What any experience you got to share from that?
Some I can't tell on radio or on the phone. But I had such a great time. He was such another true professional. And we joked a lot through the football on offset, and just had a lot of fun. I mean, I made so many good friends on that show. Kim Myers, who was the lead actress, who was in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Mm-hmm. She and I became really good friends, and she met her husband on that set. Eric Small was Peter Bogdanovich's, the director's assistant. And they met and continued their courtship and are married. I think it's like 27 years now, or no, it might be 30 years. No, not 30 years yet. But yeah, they're great people, and I honestly think each movie I've worked on, I've had such good experiences. Zapped again, the sequel to Zapped, Scott Baio and Willie Ames. Working with the great Kelly Williams, who is now directing now. And Todd Eric Andrews, who played the lead, and Reed Rudy, who is now a voiceover king. I don't know whatever happened to Ross Harris, though. I had no idea where Ross is, but a lot of cool people. Michael Harris, that was a lot of fun. A lot of those people I still talk to. As a matter of fact, Todd Eric Andrews and I just did a hike up Runyon Canyon in LA about a month ago.
I heard that Lisa Wilcox and Amanda Wist also hiked together. I think you two should, follow them,
I don't know how my wife would feel about that, but okay.
Well, I asked them if they ever encounter Freddy Krueger out there. Is he ever chasing after them? They said Freddy's probably not chasing much these days, or Robert Englund's not chasing much these days.
He doesn't move quite like he used to, Greg.
Well, you're big at the convention scenes, and this is something I always ask. I've never been outside New Brunswick. Have you ever been down this way?
No.
No?
Like I said, the the closest I'm going to be, I'll be in New Jersey in October, October 27th through the 29th, 2017.
So when you do these conventions, here's something I always ask: is what's the strangest thing you've ever been asked to sign? Anything unusual?
The strangest, well, one of the coolest things, and then I'll go to the strangest, was somebody came in with my pajamas. They got them off of eBay, and so I signed my pajamas from the set. That was pretty cool. But the strangest thing, somebody had a chicken. They made a chicken, and they had all the people from Nightmare sign it for some weird reason. This woman, will you please sign my paper mache chicken? I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that's it. I've never really signed any body parts or anything like that. Nobody has wanted a tattoo of the Wizard Master, so I haven't signed anything like that. So
I hear that's pretty common. People just sign a person's body and they get the name tattooed on them. I've heard a few stories like that.
yeah, my friend Bill Allen, who was in the BMX movie Rad, the '80s movie, he was Crew Jones, the lead. He quite often has his signature and on people's bodies. It's weird.
Well, it's good for IDing, as long as the cops are naive enough to go for it.
Exactly, Greg. Well, hey, listen, man, I got a split.
Yes, well, before you go, I was just wondering if you would do a plug for my show.
Of course I would.
Yes, I mean, this is such an honor. Just state your name and that you're the Wizard Master, and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
This is Ira Heiden, who is the Wizard Master, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python Paradise.
Yeah, look out, Harry Potter, because he's coming for you.
That's right. All right, Greg. Take it easy, and let's keep in touch, man, and see if I can get other people to come on